Welcome to the TMZ podcast. Derek here.
I'm Eric.
We are filling in for Charlie and Charlie,
Yeah.
the Charlie's Angels, as they like to call themselves, because they are out today, and
we're Derek and Eric. We're close.
And we're Derek and Eric. We at least have the rhyme scheme.
That's right.
So we've got a big 4-pack of stories. Eric, as you know, is also on our network. He has Get to the Hook, his music podcast that comes out on Wednesdays. I have Last Days. That comes out on Mondays.
And we have a good music story in here today.
That's right. And there's some music news here today. So we've got a 4-pack of stories. Obviously, to lead things off, we're going to have to talk about Donald Trump and the guilty verdict. We'll do a little bit of Brian Kelley's views on the breakup of Florida-Georgia line, something that we didn't know about how they broke up. The Kylie Kelce saga in the Jersey Shore with a zealous fan who wanted a picture. We've got a new development in that. And then there is the maybe overzealous security guard at the Cannes Film Festival who has now caused the event to get a lawsuit over her behavior on the red carpet.
This has been an ongoing thing at Cannes this year, so now it's going to wind up in court.
We'll get into it. So we'll end it on a legal note. But let's
start with it too.
Let's start off with a legal note as well. We'll bookend it. Donald Trump was found guilty on 34 counts of falsifying business records in his New York State case over the criminal hush money that was paid to Stormy Daniels. Usually we throw in a lot of allegedlys. Now he's been convicted. The jury of his peers said this guy falsified records so that he didn't have to declare a campaign expenditure when he funneled $130,000 to Stormy Daniels to sort of keep that on the QT while he was trying to get elected.
A lot of people, I think, if you don't follow this very closely, and there's a lot of information, so I'm not judging anybody on that, but I think a lot of people think he was found guilty of paying the hush money to Stormy. That's not a crime.
No, you can pay hush money. I can enter a transaction where I say, Eric, I don't want you to talk about my sister in public, and I give him some money, and we'd have a contract, and that would be a legal and binding contract.
Nothing illegal about that. It's the falsifying the documents specifically related to the campaign. There are election laws. And the jury. Are you surprised by this? You're a lawyer. 12 hours is all they deliberated. That was so much faster, I think, than anybody thought this was going to take.
It was so quick that I sort of knew the verdict was coming out in the way it did, because when a jury goes back to the deliberation room after weeks of testimony and they can get on the same page quickly, it's typically on the same guilty page. Usually if there's sort of a division, it's someone who's held out and says, the prosecutors didn't prove their case. I'm going to hold out for a little while. I'm going to ask for, sort of go to the judge and say, what does this instruction mean? If you get a lot of that means someone is not persuaded. We got a little of it on the first day. They deliberated for 4 hours, and then they came back. They got all on the same page. And they
on
said,
all 34 counts. I mean, it wouldn't be surprising if there's like a couple at least. They were like, well, maybe not this one.
This is a sweep. I mean, it is interesting. 34 counts is such a big number. It really is one transaction where he falsified 34 different documents.
It's not 34 different crimes exactly. I mean, it is technically, but it's 34 of the same thing.
Yeah, but nevertheless, this is 34 felonies. I mean, these are serious offenses. That's why it was a big trial. He faces a maximum of, in sort of poetic, 4 years, which is what he's running to.
Which he's not going to be in prison for 4 years.
He will not be in prison. He's going to file an appeal of this. Appeals take a long time. We are in an election year. The election's going to be in November. Right now,
and he cannot vote for himself now.
Well, so this is interesting. It has not gone final. Right. So he does have an appeal. And I believe until the appeal is final, he can still act as though he's an innocent man and vote. So I think he'll go to the booth.
Every presidential election, there's always the photograph of each candidate in the booth voting for themselves. He's a felon. And also funny to me, so Trump is a resident of Florida now, right? That's technically where he votes.
Right. He's a Mar-a-Lago man.
And Florida voted a few years ago to allow felons to vote.
Yes.
And then DeSantis and the Florida Republican Party overturned that.
So the Republican Party's in a real pickle with this guy. They have always been the party.
Well, they're rallied around him. This has strengthened him with his base for sure.
Absolutely. Everyone has fallen in line. Even the opponents, the Marco Rubios of the world, are now sort of kissing the ring. They want to get a position in the potential administration. They want to get a VP nod. Even Nikki Haley has softened a lot of her rhetoric, and she went after him very, very hard. Obviously, during the run up to his nomination. He's the presumptive nominee. Now, this is such a divided issue. When the verdict came down, Kathy Griffin had tears of joy. She's obviously a huge opponent. Remember when she had the art piece where he had a severed head and so forth. So Caitlyn Jenner, however, said, I'm standing by him. So Republicans, the sort of rank and file are standing behind. They're saying, we know who Donald Trump is. This doesn't change anything, and we're going to continue to vote for him. And the real verdict will be on November 5th when we elect this guy.
And of course, after the verdict, he said, Trump, what you expect, it was rigged, it's corrupt, it's, all the kind of
all the favorites. He even threw in George Soros.
Very disgraceful. Yeah, Soros for some reason, Biden, who had nothing to do with this. That's one of the most shocking things, and there's so many historic things about this. A former president being convicted of crimes, but just this is not going to move the needle probably for most people at all, one way or the other.
That's what's weird. We're in such unprecedented times. He was found liable for that huge verdict from E. Jean Carroll, right? Remember this $83 million.
Guilty of sexual assault.
Yeah, not guilty, but liable.
Well, liable.
And so this is now a felony conviction. This is as bad of a guy's like rap sheet as you can sort of assemble. He's got civil verdicts. He's got now a criminal verdict against him. He's got 3 pending criminal cases to go. None of those will happen before the election, but he's now a convicted felon. He can appeal it and he can get it overturned. But as we stand here today, this is a man who will run for the highest office in the land, the most powerful position in the world, and he's been convicted of 34 felonies. It's absolutely wild. Now, what does this do to the fence sitter, if there are any? His base, you said, is shored up. Obviously, Democrats know where they stand on him for the most part. This is really about what this impact has on the marginal voter in the center. And I'm not so sure. A lot of people think this will drive turnout. I'm of the belief that, people will say, we really can't elect this guy, and they'll go to the polls. And if people go to the polls, that tends to favor Democrats. There's more of them in the country. If, however, his fans say, this is proof of a witch hunt, look, they've now convicted him, it's absolutely awful, they'll also go to the poll in droves. So this, I don't know which way it cuts.
We're still living through history, and it ain't over yet.
It ain't over yet. We'll have to stay tuned. So let's get into Florida-Georgia Line.
Something that is over.
You're the music man. Florida-Georgia Line is a big time country band.
Huge country band. Almost 20 #1 hits on the country airplay chart.
But they broke up.
They broke up.
They're like the Hall & Oates of country?
No, they're more, well, if we're talking career-wise here, right now they're more like the Wham.
Oh, okay.
Kind of. Because Hall & Oates never broke up until this past year.
Right.
Which is R.I.P. Hall & Oates. Makes me so sad. And kind of actually Brian Kelley of Florida-Georgia Line kind of wanted a Hall & Oates thing. If you remember back in the 80s, Daryl Hall did solo records. They both did, but they stayed together as Hall & Oates.
Yes.
Brian Kelley says that he wanted to stay together as a duo and also do solo projects and just go back and forth. It hasn't worked out that way. Tyler Hubbard left the band, but no ill will. This is what Brian Kelley had to say.
It's a fun time in life, I will say, when these conversations started happening about, extra outlets, I really, the heart of where I was coming from was really having everything stay the same and stay together, and also, intertwine our solo stuff.
Let me ask you a question. So he doesn't have any ill will. He's holding out.
He said he's
hope
rooting for Tyler.
Reunion.
Yeah,
he roots for Tyler.
I'm sure they can get back together. It wouldn't be a weird thing if they did.
Yeah, this seems very professional, frankly, and it sounds like they both had ideas for solo projects. I wonder why, in the midst of a successful run, it's so hard to be successful in music, and they clearly broke out. They were very successful, just like Wham. Why don't the members of a duo know how good a thing they have? Like, there's always a pull of like, I'm maybe a little bit better. This duo is holding me back. I should go off into the solo space. And rather than just enjoying the run, because it's really the fusion
sometimes
of
it
these
works.
two guys that works so well.
But it can work the other way, too. Paul Simon had a very successful solo career after Simon and Garfunkel broke up. George Michael was much bigger than Wham was, ultimately.
That's true. Tyler
Tyler Hubbard's been very successful. Like, his albums have done really well since this split. And Florida-Georgia Line was still very successful, but they had been around a decade, and their new songs weren't quite as big as the older songs.
Yes.
You hit that point where, like, maybe this is starting to run out of gas a little bit. So now his solo career's launched, and Brian Kelley, he's also released an album, but hasn't been quite as successful. He's more the Andrew Ridgeley.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or the Andrew Ridgeley, sure.
Yeah. Which, he could get a huge hit, but
yeah, it's always very sad to me because you brought up Simon and Garfunkel. I love Simon and Garfunkel's music. I think it's like perfect harmonies, and Garfunkel serves a very important role in the band, even though everyone who listens to them knows that Paul Simon is the muscle behind the songwriting and the true talent and the musicality of it all. But I really get sad when these duos do this, because Tyler Hubbard may have a good career, even in groups. Like Justin Timberlake obviously had a massive career, but everyone pines for NSYNC because there's something about a group dynamic that you miss when people go solo. Genesis did this. This is a tale as old as time. John Lennon and Paul McCartney, they all.
But again, but Phil Collins with Genesis, he went back and forth for a long time, and so maybe if Tyler Hubbard's next album doesn't do as well, maybe we get a new Florida-Georgia Line record after that.
I hope so.
Or they just perform together. I'm sure Brian Kelley will come out at Tyler Hubbard shows, and they'll do maybe not a full reunion, just hey, we still like each other, and we'll do a couple of our hits.
It's good to see this version where there's no ill will and rancor and clashing egos. Where Brian Kelley's just like, I understand. Tyler Hubbard's got a pretty good solo career. Hopefully he'll play with me on the cruise ship.
It's like
later.
a couple. Where it's like let's just see other people.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. This was very, very professional. Let's get into something a little less professional. The Kylie Kelce saga on the New Jersey shore, where the woman who berated her during this confrontation earlier this month has now apologized. If you'll recall, the altercation went down. It was Memorial Day weekend. Kylie and Jason Kelce, who are the less famous half of the Kelce brothers, but still quite famous, and he has this huge podcast. They wanted a date night out. So they went out and they were in the parking lot. They were waiting for a spot. And a woman came up to them who may have had a few drinks and wanted a selfie.
Well,
they
Kylie said that she could smell the alcohol on her. So
yes,
she's saying the woman was more than a few drinks.
Yes. They apparently politely declined, and it caused a whole confrontation where the woman was heard saying, and I love this, "You'll never be allowed in this town again." It's one of the greatest sort of old country western kind of lines, and she's saying it about the Jersey Shore, which Jason Kelce might have been like, all right, we'll do date night at the other Applebee's or whatever. Like,
you just crapping on the Jersey Shore.
This woman, though, her name is Andrea Goldberg. She is a member of this community. It's called Margate, the smaller community within the Jersey Shore. And this is what she had to say. She said, "Although I apologized directly to the Kelce family on Saturday, I want to publicly apologize to them and our community. My anger and my actions are not who I am, and certainly not indicative of the welcoming community of Margate. As an adult and proud member of my community, I should have recognized and respected their right to privacy from the onset. I am deeply appreciative of the grace and understanding shown to me by the Kelces and wish them nothing but the best."
I love it.
What do you make of it?
This is the new thing now. That's not who I am.
Yeah.
This is not who I am.
You saw a side of me that it's not me. Not
it is.
Me. It was the real.
In that moment, it definitely was. But I understand, she maybe if she had a few drinks, got a little annoyed, like, "Oh, this celebrity won't take a picture with me. Who do you think you are?" I don't know.
It was hard for her to do anything but this. The mayor of the town said, "We apologize to the Kelces on behalf of the city. We'd like to offer them a free dinner." She was a little bit on an island. I think she probably saw it and was embarrassed.
I'm sure she was. I don't know.
Who got overly excited. There's nothing physical about it. It's just a yelling
Nothing physical, so far as we know. There was no like slurs or anything, hateful or horrible like that. This was just somebody drunk and embarrassed themselves.
Yeah.
And, I don't know.
This is not a person whose life should be destroyed by a single unflattering moment that she had publicly with the Kelces. And that's how I feel.
They forgave her, so.
Yeah, she said they've shown her grace. They haven't said anything publicly, but I think it sounds as if she's had some sort of communication with them and said they have shown her grace and understanding. Maybe she's saying that by not dragging her publicly. Jason Kelce could have gone on his podcast. He has a very big platform these days, and he could have said, "This woman was outrageous. She was drunk," and it was...
He didn't mention it at all.
He didn't say anything.
Didn't talk
and I thought that was actually quite
and
classy.
Also, if it was that she was a little drunk, we know Jason and Travis like to drink.
Yeah.
So they're probably like, "Yeah, we've all been there, done that. We know."
I'll say one more thing about this. So Jason Kelce handled this very classily. He could have gone on his podcast and blasted this person. Do you think his sister-in-law to be might take a note here or there that maybe when she gets into a breakup with someone, she doesn't need to blast them to her legion of fans?
Or maybe
just break up with them and
maybe
move
Jason
on?
doesn't have to say anything because Taylor's already writing a song about this one. "You were drunk on the Jersey Shore.
Taylor will do the dirty.
You said I wasn't welcome here no more." See, writes itself.
You've already got the hook. Yeah. Get Jack Antonoff on the phone. All right, and now let's go to our almost news segment with the model who is suing the Cannes Film Festival, saying she was basically roughed up by one of the security staffers at the event.
"I will sue the Cannes Film Festival. Actors, producers, and people of film industry, I need your help. I always dreamed into getting of Cannes Film Festival, but then I was shocked about rudeness and unreasonable use of physical force, which I experienced on the red carpet with other international stars."
The security staffer happens to be the same one who had the altercation, not physical, with Kelly Rowland. This is interesting. The woman's name is Sava Ponchiska. I'm probably butchering that, but she's a Ukrainian model, and there was a viral video of her getting into it with this security guard. You can see it on our website. It is all over the internet, where she's being sort of pushed into the room and being manhandled. I mean, she's being physically sort of thrown in. There's others trying to intervene, and it happens to be that same security staffer who Kelly Rowland was seen wagging her finger at when she sort of touched her dress. Kelley
Right.
didn't want to have her dress touched. I've seen lip readers sort of go into what she was saying, and she was just basically saying, back off. And what do you think? I think these people are in a very difficult situation. The staff at these events have to maintain order. There's a lot of aggressive photographers, particularly at Cannes, because unlike in LA, where we always have celebrity culture and there are photographers everywhere, so every event is not so high stakes. The Oscars and things are high stakes. But at Cannes, you get basically one shot a year, and they are trying to get the most out of it. They're wringing the most out of it, so there's a lot of chaos, and you want a staffer who can maintain order, but you want one who doesn't cross the line.
Seems like she's been a little aggressive this year. And this Sava is saying that, not that it's a class action lawsuit, but she's like, others are joining in with her because multiple people, not just her, not just Kelly Rowland, are saying that the security, particularly this woman, was very aggressive. Maybe it was just somebody who's a little too into the job.
Yeah, I'm not sure how far it goes. I mean, she says she's filed now this complaint, so it is an official legal action in some sense. She may, as she tries to gather her evidence to prove this case, maybe look for an affidavit, maybe look to interview Kelly Rowland and other people who say they had interactions. That certainly bolsters your case. There's a video, so she doesn't really need it. She can just say, look at this incident. This is assault, and this is what I'm.
No, I need a Kelly Rowland deposition.
But I so desperately want to see a Kelly Rowland deposition in Paris, France. I just want to see.
Can you describe what the woman said to you?
She wants 100,000 euros in damages. People always ask
a little
me,
over $100,000. It's close.
Yeah, in the 100,000 range. It's in
108,000.
100,000, yes,
US dollars.
So she is asking for this based on the psychological damage, the physical damage, and she says her reputation was harmed. She's a model. She is out there in the industry, and getting roughed up hurts her ability to get work. I take all of this always with a grain of salt. When you are a plaintiff's attorney, someone who represents people who have been physically injured or a slip and fall, you shoot the moon. That's what you want.
Right.
You say, give me all the possible damages. How you feeling? How's your neck? Has this brought up old incidents of your mother's and traumas? Because you want to make that number as high as possible so that you can settle at a reasonable number that everyone feels happy.
Spoken like a true lawyer.
Yeah, just giving you a little behind the curtain of how you put together damages. But this will be an interesting lawsuit. I think these are the types of things that quickly settle.
I'm pretty sure, but the security guard will not be back. It can.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I don't think you're going to see this woman. She has now exposed the event to potential liability. I think she's going to have to do her security staffing elsewhere.
Yeah, I think so.
That'll do it for us today. Everyone have a good weekend, and we'll see you next week.